All right, this lesson's a little bit more complex, but I'll sort of walk you through it and help you out a little bit here. So you'll probably want to watch the video and then pause it to do the section, okay? First thing that we're going to talk about in this section is, I think I mentioned it last section, is being very careful about your formula, right? If your formulas are wrong, right, the results are going to be wrong, right? So the idea of garbage in, garbage out, you just have to be very careful that your formula are correct. A lot of people just trust whatever the computer says, think it's true, and don't sort of give consideration that maybe, you know, this is created by people. It could be giving you wrong information. So we just have to be careful about that. Also, the idea of absolute versus relative references sounds a little bit scary, but it's not once you sort of understand it. So we're going to run through a computer business this time. So you have the owner of Acme Computer Manufacturing. And so the idea is, of course, really a computer manufacturer, computer builder often just takes components and puts them together. So that's what we're going to be looking at, buying the cheapest or best components and then putting them into our computer and trying to make sure that we're making a profit and trying to figure out what they call down here, your gross profit margin is. So you'll have access to this spreadsheet here called sort of All Computers EXE. And there's a bunch of sheets down here, okay? And we'll get to these as we go. But the idea is there's exercise 4.1, okay? So that first one is just starting from there. And so what you'll want to do is basically recreate this spreadsheet, okay? And you can put in these values here for the memory, motherboard, hard disk. You'll have to add up the total cost there, okay? Hopefully that total cost is less than the sale price. And then what you need to do here is calculate the gross profit margin. And so the gross profit margin there is going to be your revenue, which is your sale price. That's the amount of money you're bringing in, minus the cost. So your total cost here. So it's this cell minus this cell, okay? And then you need to make sure you do the subtraction first, right? So that would involve you having to use maybe some brackets, okay? And then divide by the revenue. And that gross profit margin, as it mentions here, should be a percent, okay? And so you'll want to make that into a percent. Let me just bring that down there, okay? So make sure your result is formatted as a percent, right? So that would be the first thing. And like I said, you can just do that right in this section here. So once you've got this one done, we'll just move on down here. And the next one's going to be almost the same idea, but it's going to involve more data, and it's actually going to get you to pick sort of the small or the lowest price. So, you know, you might have something like this where every day you get an update on the lowest memory prices, the hard disk prices, and BDS stands for the motherboards, okay? So you've got to put these three components in, just like we sort of did before. Now, you've already used the min and the max functions, okay? Obviously, we're looking for the min here. Now, what might be a little bit different is that instead of just using in one spreadsheet or one workbook, we're using across multiple workbooks here, okay? And so it's pretty simple and straightforward. I'll just sort of give you a little bit of an idea. But basically in Excel, right, you can go do the min formula. This low mem with the exclamation mark refers to the low mem worksheet, and then grabbing from D4 to D19 to determine the lowest one. So basically you're going to do the same thing, grab those prices for the memory, the hard disk, and the motherboard, calculate the minimum price, your formula, your price that you're going to charge, the competitive price is $3.90, and you want to figure out your gross profit margin. So if I take a quick look at the spreadsheet, okay, the summary, you'll notice that basically this is all done for you here that you just did the last one. This is your low end, okay? So what you would do, right, is grab your sum, and then, not your sum, sorry, your min. Will that change? Oh, sorry. So let me just delete that. Okay, so min, right? And then, now it's not going to know where to, sorry, my computer's going very slow here. Get the min, there we go. So it's going to get the min, and so you would just go to, this is the memory, so go to the memory sheet, and then basically you could just highlight these ones, and then I usually just press enter, and you can see with the formula, it's put in that exclamation mark to reference the separate sheet, and then those rows there. So you would do that for that one, sum it up. Your sale price, I believe, was the $3.90, and then you need that formula from before to get your gross profit margin. So what we're going to do is continue building on that spreadsheet with a discount. And so, like it says here, we're going to reduce the price by 5%. Okay, and so, you know, the idea is that you have to sort of go through and do this. And we'll talk a little bit about this absolute versus relative reference here as we work on it. So if I put in, say, 5% here, and then let's just put in a couple of prices, something easy. Let's just make this 150. Okay, so if this was to be discounted, the formula here would have to be, okay, whatever the original price was minus, and in brackets here, this price again, times the 5%. Okay, so just to sort of see that, $59.85, that seems about right. It would be about, you know, just over $2, $2.50 that you'd be saving. Okay, $3, yeah, I guess that's about right. Yep. So the idea here is that if you just drag this down, okay, it doesn't look like I'm getting a discount. And the reason is because the cells have shifted. So we notice the original discount was in B4, okay? And so we multiplied it by B4 here. Well, in the next one, it went to B5, which has got nothing in it, and then B6, which has got nothing in it as well. And so that's why there's no discount, because basically it's timesing it by 0. So what we want to do is use this idea of an absolute reference. And so, and this is what I was saying, the relative reference was shifting, okay? As we copied and pasted down or dragged it down, it was shifted, okay? But what we want to do is make it absolute. And again, like I said, it's almost like a programming language in a bit. What you can do is you can put $ in front of it, and then therefore make them permanent, okay? So I'll show you here, and you can do this too. So I would come up to to this original formula, and I would make, now changing the B isn't a big deal, but I'm gonna put that $ in front there, and the $ in front there. Just click off of it, no change there, but when I drag this down, now you can easily see that we got the $5 discount, okay? Which this is it. Okay, so that gives you the discount. So that should be able to solve this problem here. Okay, so oops, yeah. So that, yes, sorry, I'm getting myself confused here. So let me just make sure that was the minimum. Yes. So rewrite your memory discount formula to include the absolute reference as we said. Copy that formula and paste it in the motherboard and discuss. Okay, and then just sort of finish up that thing here too with the total cost. The sale price would be the same, and then you can check out the better profit margin. Now the next section talks a little bit about named ranges, and you can actually give names to specific cells. And so again, like $B, $2 doesn't mean anything, you know, to anyone really. I mean, you know that it's a fixed cell, B2, but it doesn't give you any idea of what it means. So it can just be a little bit difficult to understand. So like they're giving this example, you know, what are you trying to do here? It's very hard to tell. But what you can do is you can, you know, give names to cells. So you can call that one the discount. You can call this one the cost, or whatever the case is. So if you go into, and this is what lesson 4.4 is here, again, just back into the spreadsheet, this exercise, this here, when you click on it, it's called B4, but you can actually give it a name. So you could type in discount. Now, I believe this will still work, right? But instead of having B4 here, you can type in, I think I called it discount, and there it is, and you can see how it pops up as a suggestion. There. Now, let's just make sure. Oh, I don't like that because it doesn't autocomplete for you. Sorry, discount. There we go. And notice how it highlights there. Good. So now I can sort of pull this down, right? And nothing's going to change, but each of these are now multiplied by discount. Okay, and so you can sort of finish this up with the total cost, the sales price, and the profit, and you could give these ones labels as well, the cost, and then that would make it easier to do it. Although I guess the trouble with labeling, you can't label both of these cost, because then you'd have two of the same. So just make sure you label the one discount, because that's going to be the original one, and make sure you've got all the formulas there. Now the last little bit here is using tables. And so basically the idea is we can take the other data and we're going to change these into tables, and that makes your references very quick and easy as well. Okay, so let's just sort of make a table here, and then we'll be able to reference it, and then you can sort of finish up the spreadsheet. So how do you make a table? Well, it says open that sheet, and then near the top there, head over to the insert and click table and give it a name. So let's go do that. So what I'm going to do, and so in insert there is table. So make sure you just sort of click on everything here, and then you can just click on table. And then sort of already knows. Now actually, before I do that, I just made a little mistake, just Control Z that. It should really, don't include the title, sorry. So if you do this, insert table, table for that, go okay. And then you can see there's table name here. So I'm just going to give it the same name, mid BDS, the same name that was there. So the motherboard's there. Okay. And so once you've got that, if you take a look back here at the instructions, right? So you've got a table, go ahead and start using it for the structure references, right? And you'll be able to use that. So now you can go minimum, you can choose the spreadsheet, okay, or the sheet, and then the column that it's working in. So pretty straightforward there. And you can do that for the rest. So let's just finish that up just to show you there. So I'm going to go back into here. Let's go back into our summary sheets. And so for our mid-range, that was the motherboards. So I'm going to go equals, do the min, and then I will need, let's just see here. So what was it there? The mid BDS, and then you can grab the price off of that. So what it's basically doing, right, because that was the name we gave to that table, so the mid BDS, and it gives you the suggestion there, and then we need it in a square bracket, and you can see ID, vendor, model, price. Let's see if I just click on it. No, oh, there we go. Okay, cancel. Computer's just being very slow, and then you can just close that out. Of course, it didn't do that. Mid. I don't know why. There we go. And then square bracket. There we go. And then close that up, close it up, and press enter. There we go. So that should have found the mid-range. In the mid-range file, it found the motherboard there. So let's just see. Yep, 378 would have been the cheapest. Okay, and then that's what it found there. So basically, you just have to finish everything up. The sale price on these, let me just double check. I think it's in the spreadsheet here. Okay, Yeah, so the sale prices there on the mid-range would be 600, and the high end, it's a huge number, $4,000 there. Okay, and so you should be able to complete that and get the profit margins, and the discounts will stay the same here, so 5% across there. Okay, so try to use tables for these ones because it just makes it a little bit better for the reference. Okay, you know the total cost, you'll be able to calculate the total cost. You know the sale prices now because there's 600, so 600 would go there, 4,000 would go on both of those because the sale prices, we're not going to give the customer a discount, it's just our supplier is giving us the discount there, okay? And that should increase our profit margin. So the profit margin should be higher for each of those. All right, so try that out. Good luck, and hope it goes well.